Hey, friends, and welcome back to the Built to Last show. Today's episode is a little different and a whole lot of fun because we are doing something we have never done before. We have a live audience in the room for this one. Now, we are not in person live audience, we are virtual, but for the first time ever, I invited my community to join this podcast episode live so they could really have a behind the scenes look of this conversation that I'm going to have with our incredible guest. So I'm going to tell you all about Jenna in just a minute. And then this is really cool. Once we're done recording this episode, we're going to go into a live Q&A. So if you were listening to this on the podcast, just know when we stop the recording, we are going to have a really awesome live Q&A. That part will not be on the show. And stay tuned because we are going to start doing this once a month. So you are definitely going to want to get on that list and be in the room for our future podcast recordings with a live audience. We have a really awesome lineup of guests every month from now on through the end of the year. So I cannot be more excited to bring back one of my absolute favorite people and the very first guest we ever had on this show, Jenna Larson, the brilliant mind and heart behind GroupTrack CRM. So if you are someone who has ever struggled to keep up with the DMs, we know that we're doing so much business and relationship building in the DMs, probably on multiple platforms. If you feel like you are dropping the ball on follow-ups or felt like potential clients were literally slipping through the cracks, you are absolutely going to love this conversation. So lean in. Jenna created GroupTrack CRM to solve a real world problem that every single one of us faces as business owners, including myself: how to build and track real relationships on social media in a way that actually leads to sales without the overwhelm. That should be music to all of our ears. But today, we are going beyond just the tech. We're going to talk about the rise of community powered businesses, why Facebook groups are far from dead, and how they're becoming the most powerful tool for building trust, deepening connection, and fueling your programs and education offers. So whether you're launching your first offer or trying to get more consistency in your enrollments, this episode will challenge the way you think about marketing, community, and what it really takes to create a business that's built to last. So let's dive in with the incredible Jenna Larson. Jenna, welcome to the show.
You. I'm so excited to be back. I think this is like, I was just saying, I want to be the first of everything from now on.
I know, right? Now I'm going to have to like creatively think, or what are some other firsts that I could do that Jenna can be part of?
It's such an honor. I love talking to you. So I'm very excited to be here.
Cool. And I imagine we had a very similar conversation in that first episode, which was, I mean, my podcast producer, Lynn, is watching this right now. So when we stop recording, Lynn's going to have to tell us. I think it's been about 3 years. I don't remember the actual date. I should have gone and looked, but you are not new to Facebook groups. You are not new to GroupTrack CRM. Like you created this many years ago, before 2020, well before 2020.
No, actually, it was
So
2020.
was it 2020?
2020. Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's crazy.
a day.
Yeah. Okay. So I had you on the show, I think it was 2021.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure we had a very similar conversation around community, Facebook groups, generating leads. How do we follow up with people? And it was one thing that I really want to get into today. It's not my first question, so let's not go there yet. But times have really changed. What worked back then, even in 2021, 2022, when we had that first interview, the same things are not working in the same way. And that's going to be one of the big things that we hit on today. But before we go in that direction, because I know that is on a lot of people's minds, again, you're the founder of a software platform, GroupTrack CRM. And this platform is a way to transform the way coaches and business owners essentially are managing their leads. So I'd love for you to walk us through how GroupTrack was even born. Like, how did you even get this idea? And what problem is it solving in the online space?
I love this question. So, first off, I had a different company. It was called Drive Performance Coaching. And basically, I had taken everything from my corporate experience and I started teaching online business owners how to find leads, how to track them through a system, and how to retain them. But the problem was all of the tactics that I was teaching were working so well that people started having more conversations and getting more clients. But it actually created a whole nother problem, which was that people were overwhelmed, right? They're like, Jenna, I have so many conversations going in the DMs that I'm losing track of people and I'm not following up and I feel horrible because I'm not closing sales or following up and all the things. And so I had this kind of vision from God, and he was like, you need to create this platform where basically you're going to make a follow-up system where the people are actually hanging out. Because the reality is CRMs or follow-up systems are not new. What the problem was though, is that they were external to where we're working, right? So people are working in Facebook groups, working in the DMs, working their friends list, working on Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things. But in order for you to follow up with those people and to track them, you have to copy and paste them into an external system that's completely disjointed from where you're doing your job, which is on social media. And so we kind of joke that it was like totally a divine accident, but it was like, literally I was driving and I was like, oh my God, this is the answer. Instead of like creating a different CRM, which is what I was doing in my old business, I was like, let's just build one where we're working. And so I called this man, Nathan. He actually owned a different software company and I was his coach on how to sell. And I was like, you've got to build this. And he was like, it's impossible. And then 2 weeks later, GroupTrack was born. He DM'd me and was like, I did it. And so that was 2020. And what's so crazy is it blew up. And the reason is apparently many people had this problem. And what at the time was just the idea, like we should build a system to help you track your Facebook group, has now evolved into this huge system which works everywhere on social media. So your personal profile, in the DMs, in your Facebook group, on Instagram, we're going to LinkedIn on June 1st. Like it has evolved into this thing so much bigger than back in 2020. But you know, for me, where it started was number one, God, and number two, like just deciding to, you know, heed that following and just do the thing. And, you know, when you do things, things happen. So it's kind of our fun little accidental, amazing story.
Yeah, and quite the evolution. I mean, I've been in your group track Facebook group since the beginning. I was a user of maybe your very first
I
version
think,
of group track.
yeah,
I think I was. And something that I would love for you to touch on, because I talk about this a lot when it comes to just developing an offer in general. So group track is your offer. You know, I'm working with coaches and they've got group coaching programs and coaching packages, and that's their offer. And being a user of GroupTrack myself, you didn't have everything figured out in the first iteration, right? Like it had, I mean, I remember it didn't have remotely close to the number of capabilities that it has today. And I also know, because I'm in your Facebook group, historically, you know, when people are recognizing like, oh, like this isn't working or this is a bug, you're literally right there in real time inside the Facebook group saying like, thank you, customer, for letting us know about that bug. We're going to go fix that now. And I've watched you really listen to your community. And something that I'm always stressing to my clients is you've got to constantly be in testing mode. And we don't need to do anything perfect. We need to be willing to do it messy, to do it imperfectly, but to do it consistently. So I'd love to hear your approach to, you know, building something that was not perfect at the beginning and just how you navigate. There are going to be bugs, whether it's a SaaS product or it is a coaching program, right? Like it's going to grow and evolve. So I'd love for you to kind of walk through that, not necessarily like, oh, here's all the logical things that we changed, but just the mindset behind building it in front of your community and with your community.
Yeah, it is the most important thing. And I think, you know, part of my philosophy is like being willing to get your feet wet. And what I mean by that is like, take the first step. You never know if the sea is going to part and the promised land is right there, right? You have to be willing to do things. And when you take that first step, you may realize, oh my gosh, I need to get swimming lessons really quick and then try again. Or, oh my gosh, I have a flotation device. I'm good to go, right? And that's how we operate our entire business, because I know, as you do, if you try to wait till something's perfect, you will never launch, you will never make money. And the reality is you may actually build something nobody actually wants. And so we have very much been so transparent. And I think that's the key. We tell people you are using a cutting edge tool. You are willing to do something and there's a trade-off. It will not be perfect. Things will break, especially because we operate our entire company. I think people don't realize is dependent on a third-party platform. So we don't have control. If Meta makes a change, for example, if they change something in their code from a period to a question mark, it can break us. And so we are testing every single day. But here's the beauty, we had to rebuild our entire tool because Meta was making this big change we had to accommodate for. It took us 2 years and $400,000 to rebuild the tool
Wow.
but the reality is, even when we launched, and we did have like a really rough time launching because we're trying to keep up, and it was a rough time. Our community was so good to us because they're like, we see you being transparent. We see you real time fixing things and in the trenches with them. And people were like sending us gift cards and all this beautiful stuff. And I thought, while this could have been such a hard time for us, it was actually a really beautiful time because what we saw was our people love the tool so much, but more than that, they love us because we pour into them and we've built this for them with them. People really feel like they're part of GroupTrack's evolution because they are. We have such amazing entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators, content creators that are using the tool who are like, hey, can you build this? And the big joke is just like it was with Nate and I in the beginning when I was like, can you build GroupTrack? And he was like, no. It's the same thing. Our clients are like, can you build this? Nate's like, no. And then 30 days later or 30 seconds later, it's built and it's done. And so it's so fun for the clients because they feel like they're such a part of it. But, to your point, you have to be willing to do it. And to get the feedback like, ooh, that did not work, reverse, or, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Let's do more of it. But I feel like if you're just trying to build with the expectation that you're going to understand how the user is going to respond, you won't build fast enough and the trend will be gone and you'll miss the boat completely. So you got to just be willing to get your feet wet.
So something that I really just picked up on as you were sharing, you have a SaaS product, right? Like it's not like it's a coaching program that you're meeting people every single week and getting together in person, and it's not necessarily community based, right? Like people aren't really accessing the community when they
Well, we
access
have both.
GroupTrack CRM. You have
Yeah.
both. So that's what I want you to talk about.
Yeah.
What has been your approach to, and how has community building played a role for a SaaS product? And if you can kind of connect the dots, because most of our listeners are not, they're not, they're not building SaaS products.
Yeah.
A lot of them
You're
are
lucky.
coaches
You're
and
lucky.
service-based
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. But even in that space, there is such a misconception that when you're meeting with people on Zoom squares, or they're all in a Facebook group together, or they're all in a program together, or they're all the purchaser of something, that automatically that equals community. That doesn't equal community. So how have you built because you don't have just a group. If people are like sending you gift cards when the thing is like falling apart and burning down, that is a community that you can count on. Walk us through like your approach to community building and facilitating and cultivating a culture of community with your GroupTrack users.
Yeah, it is everything. I believe it is, we have a low ticket offer, a small community relative to many. We've never done an ad ever. And last year we collected 1.2. And the reason I share that is not to be like, oh, look at us. It's to say, look what you can do. Even if you don't have a high ticket offer, you're not spending ads and you don't have a big team. It is 100% because of our community. So I want you guys to think about this, like, who cares if I have a SaaS, right? The reality is we're both selling something. I sell a software, you sell coaching, whatever it is, right? But the reality is, I was actually just talking to a lady the other day. She had, I think she said it was a $30,000 program that people were buying, but she could not get people to do the work. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that is proof that like paying doesn't really get people to complete anymore. What actually gets people to complete your program, to do the work, to get results and keep paying you over and over is 100% community. And it's not just community with the owner, meaning like I have a relationship with Jenna or Megan because they're the owners of the community, but also with each other. And so the reality is what we do with our community and what we teach others to do with their communities is to treat it like a high-end retail store. And here's what I mean by that. If you run your Facebook group like a garage sale, meaning come on in, stuff's all over the place. Help yourself. I'm going to probably stare at you while you look through my things. You know what I mean? Like it's so awkward. But then you're expecting them to buy a high-end product.
Mm.
Like it's such a disconnect in the way you're running your community versus what you're asking the community member to do. Versus what we teach you to do is treat your Facebook group, your community, like a high-end retail store. High touch, high service, high value. When you walk in the door, we greet you with a DM. And the DM isn't like, hey, what's your revenue? How much weight do you want to lose? Like it is not aggressive. It is not like that. It's like, hey, thank you so much for joining. We help people do this. We want to make sure you're getting our messages. Can you simply let us know you received this? So easy to get a response, so quick. Our response rate is ridiculous because we're coming from a place of service, not what can you do for me, right?
Mm.
So we welcome you into our group. And I want you guys to think about this just like you're walking into Nordstrom. We don't assume that we know why you walked into our store, right? We're going to ask you, hey, quick question. What would be most helpful to you in this community? Learning about this, or this. And then based on what they tell us, we're going to direct them. We're going to literally walk them over to the shoe section, the bedding section, the whatever it is relative to what they're looking for. And we're basically going to ask these questions and uncover their needs and really get to a place of service based on what they tell us. We're like, oh, well, here's some content relevant to that problem that you could probably get results for free, right? And I want you guys to think about this as we're uncovering the needs and we're like, oh, you should look at this content. It's basically like we're putting you in the dressing room with some things to try on, right? And at a high-end retail store, we wouldn't just leave you in the dressing room. We'd be like, here, take a look at this. I'm going to come back in a few minutes and see what questions you have. So we're literally saying, get in front of this content. I'm going to come back and I'm going to check in and see what questions popped up. And so we are serving hardcore in our community. And I think that's why when we make offers, number one, we don't really do sales calls. And number two, they convert. And the reality is we pre-sell our community through service and our people feel it. We are not aggressive. We're not coming at them with like, you need to buy, you're in our community. It is truly from a place of service and people feel it. And the beautiful thing is they don't feel it in other people's communities, right? Like you are walking into that group and somebody is DMing you like hardcore, buy, and you're just like, ew. Or you get nothing at all and you're expected to help yourself like you're in a garage sale. But again, I always say like, you know, what are you trying to sell? Garage sale trinkets or premium service? You've got to make the experience match what you're trying to sell.
Yeah, I always tell my community, you want to create a simulation at the level of free of what it's actually like to experience paying you and being behind the paywall. And
Totally.
a lot of people resist that, right? Like a lot of people resist like the free community. Um, but I'm telling you exactly what you're saying, which this is going to segue into people's, buyer psychology is really shifted. People have become so much more discerning about where they are sending their dollars. I have. I
Yep.
mean, I am so much more discerning. Before we press record on this, I was talking to another client's marketing team and they're the social media team. And that was the biggest part of our conversation. It's like, if I'm like probably your ideal client person over here, marketing team. And if I'm being discerning, you know, I guarantee you, your entire community is being discerning about who they're not even where their dollars are going, but where they are paying attention. Where am I giving my time and attention? And I was even telling them before I'm even willing to vet someone to potentially work with them. And when I vet somebody, and this is a statistic everybody needs to write down. People nowadays are going to consume 5 to 8 hours of you before they ever make a buying decision. That's a vetting process. They are vetting you, but they are also going to, the first decision is, am I even going to vet this person based
Yeah.
on how they're treating me when I enter into their Facebook group and I'm, interacting with them on social media. If I'm not getting a great interaction from you on social media, you're not even on my list to vet, to possibly hire to work with. So based on what we now know about our audience, society, buyers, customers, clients, and how people are making buying decisions, I'd love to hear your perspective because I know you have the real data, you have the real numbers, you have the real KPIs and metrics. Like you've got it all since 2020 to April of 2025. Tell us what has changed.
Oh my God, everything. Like literally. It was that we could literally show up, throw up a social media post, and people would throw money in your face. It was glorious, not gonna lie, right? And this is why everybody's like, Facebook groups are dead. I'm like, no, no. Your strategy from 2020 is dead, not the group, right? If you think that you're just gonna sit there and people are gonna come give you money, it's not true. To your point, the psychology of the buyer has changed. They have been so burned by joining high ticket programs that did not deliver, that made them commit for 1, 2 years. And it was just a bad experience. So now when they go to buy, it's a lot different. And so the reality is they have changed and you have to do something different. And so the big difference to me is, you know, I feel like I can tell you within 30 seconds of talking to you if I know you're making money or not in this social media world. If I simply ask, what do you do when you get a new Facebook group member? What do you do when you get a new follower on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn? And if you say nothing, I assume if they want to buy something, they're going to buy, you're not making money. Or if you're like, well, I send one DM to welcome them. Okay, that's good, but that's not enough. You have to take this into your own hands now. It used to be that it was so quiet that like the algorithm showed your stuff to people and they got to know you. The reality is you cannot let the algorithm determine the success of your business. And so when you come into my community, I, with love, am going to force myself to be in front of you. Meaning, I'm like, great, based on your problem, here's a video I want you to watch that is exactly what it is that you need. And so I want you guys to think about this. When you're in my group and you say, I'm struggling with this, and I'm like, here, watch this, and it meets your exact need at the right time, you are already like, number one, getting in front of me as much as we just talked about you need to. But number two, I am spending the time to get in front of you when no one else is. And that is the reality, right? And so I always just say, like, the difference between then and now is it's way more noisy. Everybody and their mother is a coach. And so there's a lot more to compete with, and the buyers are just very burned. That is a hard place to be. And so I think the reality is you need a system, you need a strategy, and you need the skills. And if you are still living in 2020 where you didn't need any of those things, you are not going to make money in 2025 and beyond. But the people who have those three things, they're doing just fine.
Yeah. So let's talk automation, because some of the things that you're saying, people might be wondering, like, are you doing all of this manually, or how are you incorporating group track so that some of this is automated? So what parts of the sales or the client nurturing process should be automated, and what should still stay human and personal?
I think that the way I work my business is I do my outbound service as a robot. And then once you talk to me, I become a human. Because the reality is, if I try to run my business based on other people's responses, I will fail, right? If I determine success on how many people wrote back and how many people did this, I would feel like a failure. Versus if I say my job is to reach out to this many people a day, I can at the end of the day say that I won, right? So that's kind of how I run my business. But when it comes to serving, we do have to be human. And we want to be able to scale that human touch. And that's where GroupTrack comes in. So the first thing I would say is, I mean, I would say like, I guess how it determines how you determine automation, right? So like if I go into my Facebook group and I click one button, track every single person in my Facebook group and put it into GroupTrack, you might think that's an automation, right? That is going to save me about 500 hours of time versus copying and pasting every single name into a spreadsheet. So when you come into my Facebook group, you know that you have the group entry questions, right? We ask this really good stuff about these people. We can capture their email. But the reality is, if you are copying and pasting that into a spreadsheet, that is such wasted time. With GroupTrack, you can click a button. All of those new group members will go into your Facebook group, go into GroupTrack CRM so that you put them into a pipeline. It'll capture their email and put that into your email system, automate your emails immediately when they join. And you can start that. You can even automate your group welcome DM. So all of that portion to me is completely automated. I go into my Facebook group once a day, I click approve, all of those things happen in the background without me doing anything. And the reality is we have a lot of users who unfortunately get rid of their VAs or lower their time because why would you pay a human to sit there and copy paste when you can click a button and it's done for you? So that is 100% automated. Join my group, you go into my group, into my system, you get a welcome email, you get a welcome DM. Done. Click of one button. Then what we do is now you're in our CRM and we automate a follow-up task. So the moment you're approved into the group, you're assigned to one of our team members to own you as a lead, and a task is going to be set so that we know to continue to follow up. And so when we are following up, we have technology to remind us to do the follow-up, but we're sitting there doing the work ourselves. Now, the beautiful part is every message that is our outbound message, part of our strategy, those are all dialed in. They're templates inside the system. I never have to sit there and type an outbound outreach. But when you DM me back, that's me as a human, right? I'm sitting there, I'm really in the DM. It's not a bot working it for me. It's me or my team member, depending on how we work the strategy, doing the work. And so I personally like to do a lot of it manually, but I track it in GroupTrack so that I have the automation to remind me of when the next outreach is and so forth. But where we really use automation would be two instances. For example, last week we did a masterclass where we were selling our new program where we teach you or your team how to follow up. And I wanted to get as many people to the masterclass as possible. Well, I wrote a DM template, which is like, hey, come to our masterclass with a couple variations. I queued up all of those people and GroupTrack sent the messages while I worked all day in the background. So last week I sent, I think it was like 750 messages, and my team member also sent 2,500. No, 1,200 over the course of a week. But those are done completely automated. So while those messages are going out, we're doing other stuff, right? So that's huge. That is allowing me to scale our reach, scale our communication at scale, but still keep it personalized. So that's a really good instance where automation is going to come in. But then the moment you message me back and are like, yes, I want to learn more, now I'm a human. So that's where I say my outbound is robot, Jenna, me, but like no thinking. I'm just like doing my job. The moment you respond, I get to be a human and turn on that like emotion. Another instance where we're going to use automation would be, let's say we've got a call to action post where we've got tons of people commenting. We have an automation called autoresponder where basically anybody who's commented on your post will be added to your tracking system, replied to, reacted to, and automated your outreach for the DM. And so again, it's like, man, I had to do it manually the other day because GroupTrack had an issue. And I was like, oh my God, I would pay triple just for this feature because the amount of time I'm saving is wild. So stuff like that I would automate.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, well, let me say this first. You and I both know, because you and I hear this all the time about Facebook groups. One of the biggest complaints and objections to people who have run Facebook groups or currently are running a Facebook group, and it's their objection to wanting to continue with it or reignite their Facebook group, or if they close one down, starting a new one, it's that nobody's engaging. It's so disengaged, and I'm showing up and doing all this work. And what I'm hearing from you is you have said the word DM probably 15 or 20 times in
Yeah.
that response.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is it is up to us to facilitate and cultivate engagement with our community members. And if I had to make a wild guess, you are heavily utilizing the DMs to do that. Is that
100%.
true?
100%. You nailed it. Like if I could just put that with a pretty bow, 2022, you did nothing. The group was engaged. 2024, you are responsible for facilitating. So here's the strategy that we run every single week in our group, non-negotiable. We pick a topic. Monday, we do what we call the Monday post. It's literally a call to action post. Do you have this problem or do you want to accomplish this goal? If so, say me or whatever below. So for example, a couple weeks ago, I made a ChatGPT DM prompt that like has my entire brain and it writes your DMs for you. I did a post. I was like, hey, do you want this? Say, work my leads. I mean, I had so many people write work my leads. It was crazy. So this is the reality, right? So we do the Monday post, we have people comment, and basically to me that says, who are the people in my group that have the problem I can solve or have the goal I can help them accomplish? Those are my leads. Those are my warm, ideal clients, right? And so basically I want you guys to think about it. You've got a group. Think about it like you're mining for gold. I'm just sifting in the group to see the gold nuggets pop up to the top, and those are the people that are willing to comment, okay? And so you might be thinking, oh, Jenna, I do a post like that, but I don't get much response. I'm going to give you a ninja trick. It's like the dumbest, easiest thing. Take the permalink to that post, send that exact link in an email to your entire email list, and just say, hey, do you want this thing? Click here. When they click here, it will take them directly to that post, get more eyeballs on it, more comments, and the algorithm will go crazy. Plus, if they're not in your group, it'll force them to join your group. So then you're group every week. So we do our Monday post. Everybody who comments, we invite to a training that Thursday. During the training, we do a training on whatever topic it is, and we give them what to do, not how to do it. So we're like, oh, do you want, step 1, step 2, step 3? If you want support with that, say word X. And so we get all these comments, and then we make them an offer on Friday. That is literally what we do every single week. But the reason I'm sharing this is because all of the things I'm doing in my Facebook group, the call to action post, the training on Thursday, is simply to have a trigger, a reason or permission for me to get into the DMs to have a conversation, because the nurture space is what's going to win in 2024 and 25 and beyond. So I realistically, if you don't come to my training on Thursday, that's okay, because I'm already in the DMs with you now. We're having a conversation. And the reality is my conversation is more likely to convert than me ever trying to get you to a webinar, to actually get you to show up, to listen to the whole thing, wait to the offer, and then actually purchase. When I can just talk to you in the DMs and most likely close there. Only because we lead with so much service in the group, by the time I'm in the DMs with you, we already know each other. Like, my community knows I'm crazy, I have typos, I'm in jammy pants, like they feel like they know me because they do, right? So by the time I'm in the DMs, I'm like, hey, what are we doing, Megan? Like, where are we going from here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the strategy we run every week. We teach our clients that strategy, and it works because we don't wait for anyone. We do the work we know works. We make it happen. We don't wait for the algorithm. We don't hope and pray someone decides they want something. We go do the work.
Well, you're also not waiting for somebody to find you in the DMs. You're not waiting for someone to say, hey, what do you have for offer? Or, hey, I'd like to work with you. And a lot of people still to this day are kind of sitting back and they have this like expectation that that's what they want people to do because that's a signal to them that somebody actually wants what they have to sell. And that's just that people don't operate that way. People, they're not coming into your DMs to say, how can I buy your stuff? That's
Yeah.
not happening anymore.
Yeah. And even if they know, like, I think the idea, people think, oh, well, if they know what I sell, if they want it, they'll buy it. No, they won't.
They
You know, I was,
And they might not even know what you're selling too. Like for
yeah.
some in some communities, they don't know what you're selling.
Well, I mean, I run my community, but let me tell you, the other day someone was like, what's pipelines? And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. How, I mean, that's, how do you not know that? Right. But it's like a great reminder. Like,
Yeah.
you think people know, they don't. And so it's your job to tell them. I always use this analogy. So it's like when someone walks into your home and you're like, oh, Megan, bars over there, help yourself. You're going to be like, oh, no, it's okay. I'll just take a water. Versus if I'm like, Megan, I'm so excited. We're celebrating your first live podcast. I got you your favorite Chardonnay. Would you like a glass? You're going to be like, yes, please. Same thing. You can't just post and expect people are going to help themselves. They will not. And if you want to make money using a community, or not even, like, same thing. I do the same thing with my Facebook followers, my Instagram followers. I do the same thing. If you follow me, you're getting a DM saying, thank you for following me. We help people do this. Let me know if you got the message. Like, we work every lead. And I think that's the reality. People are like, oh, I don't have any leads. I'm like, you have way more than you can handle. You just are not working them.
Yeah. Okay. So I can imagine some people listening to this are like, whoa, I am overwhelmed by the tech, the systems, all this lead management, especially if they're scaling or growing really fast. So what do you have to say to someone who might be feeling a little overwhelmed about the tech side? Like if I want to start using GroupTrack, oh my gosh, how am I going to set all this up? Am I managing this? Is somebody else managing this? Are you teaching me how? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so we have a couple things. So number one, we get a lot of coaches, course creators, all the things, who see the tool and they're like, holy smokes, what the heck is this? This is amazing. I need it. But the reality is a lot of CEOs don't want to do that work because they just don't have the time or the bandwidth. And so GroupTrack is also built for you to use it with teams. So for example, my job in my community is to be the main character at this point. I've earned it. I've put in the work. I've got the strategy, the system, and I have a team now that has the skills. So I just do the Monday post. I show up and do the training. My team member comes behind me. She uses GroupTrack and she does the outreach and she does all the work, right? I just am facilitating it and basically handing her the leads to do it with. And so there's a lot of CEOs that are like that who come into GroupTrack, they get it dialed in, their team member does it. We actually have a program where we teach your team member how to follow up with leads, how to use GroupTrack, or if you're a solopreneur, we teach you that as well. But the reality is we have tried to take anything that could be an objection out of the equation. So when you get GroupTrack, even on trial, it's completely set up for you. It has our pipelines with every step we recommend that you take your leads through. It comes with every message template we suggest and when you send it. All you literally have to do is connect your pipeline, edit the message templates, and use it. We have a free onboarding that literally has you use the tool with me. Like you're sending me a DM so that you can't mess up. Like there is no mess up. You're sending it to Jenna, right? So we have you practice using the tool with us. And then we have free training every single week. So we try to take away every potential objection as to why this can't work for you. But again, we've got, big clients that have team members that are working the leads for them and we'll train them for you. Or if you're somebody who wants to do the work, we will train you too.
Cool. So can I use GroupTrack if I am on predominantly on Instagram or LinkedIn, Facebook? So it's covering all of those. And someone listening may be asking like, at what point in my business growth journey do I know that GroupTrack is something I should be investing in?
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased, but I would say immediately, if you have followers that you are trying to like in whatever platform, if you are using social media to get clients, you need it. I mean, and yes, you could use a spreadsheet, like start there if anything. But I think the question really shouldn't be when do I use GroupTrack? It should be when do I start following up with leads? Because that's the thing, right? If you're not actually following up with leads, you'll never have a problem that needs to be solved with GroupTrack because you're never going to need to follow up. You're never going to not know when to do it next or what you said or when to do it. And you're not going to have overwhelming DMs. The reality is, I feel with everything in my soul, if you follow up and track the people that are following you, you will make sales. And so then it becomes, okay, well, when am I overwhelmed? And the reality is a lot of people get overwhelmed in the DMs quickly. We had a guy.
Yeah. I was going to say really fast, like maybe you've got 10 DMs in there, you're overwhelmed.
We
Yeah.
had a guy, Daniel, and we rolled out this new feature in GroupTrack where you could go into your DMs and you could push a button and it will show you all your unread messages. And so Daniel had been using GroupTrack for a while. We just rolled out the feature and we're like, dude, press it. He did it and he found 27 messages that were unread where someone had said yes to his offer and he never saw them.
Whoa.
27
That's a
people.
lot of money.
Well, I asked him, Daniel, please calculate how much that would be. $57,000.
Whoa.
$57,000 of people who had said yes. He never saw it, never closed the deal. So if you ask Daniel,
Wow.
like literally GroupTrack would pay for it for the rest of his life, you know?
Yeah.
We had another client, Molly Mahoney, a lot of people know her. She is like really good at working leads and DMs and stuff like that. She had a girl she had made an offer to in January. Come April, we released this new feature. She clicked it, found a girl who had said yes in January. Molly was horrified, like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad I didn't follow up. She reached out to her that day, closed a 10K sale.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's
It
crazy.
pays for itself. It
Oh,
pays for itself.
it's so silly. I mean, we had a guy, now granted it was last year, so things have changed a little bit, but he did $500,000 in a week using GroupTrack in a group.
Oh my gosh. That's
Insane.
wild.
Insane.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So how do we get on the GroupTrack train? Tell
yeah.
us.
Yeah, you guys can go. I think Megan, you have a special link. We'll make sure to get them, but you guys can go to our website. It's www.grouptrackcrm.com. But you're also welcome to join our Facebook community. Even if you don't want to use the tool and you just want to see like, what does it feel like to be served at the level? Because the reality is once you start to feel what it's like to be in a community that feels like you are not a number, you're going to want to do that for your own community. Because the beautiful thing, like I said, is we don't do sales calls. Like people buy GroupTrack pretty much referral, but once they're in our community, they buy our coaching because they fall in love with the service that we provide. And really the biggest thing I hear from people is that they want to deliver that level of support to their community too. So if you guys want to join our group, it's Organic Sales System powered by GroupTrack. And you guys are welcome to come in. You will experience the welcome DM and what are your questions and how can we serve you and all of that stuff. Because we believe if we serve you and you see that you can get results, pretty quickly, that eventually you'll convert into a client. So we want to lead with that service and show you what it's like.
Amazing. All right. Well, that is all in the show notes. Jenna, this was so much fun to have you back for round 2. Thank you so much. This was so valuable. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. We always love coming and talking. I think last time we spent a lot more time on how to be a woman CEO and then come back and transition into the household and all that stuff. So this is a fun, different conversation.
Yes, you're reminding me. I think we did because I think you shared how you met your husband in the first episode. I think you
Very
met him at
fast.
church or something. I think it was church.
No, Chris and, oh no, we met at, gosh, where the heck did we meet? Oh no, we worked together. I'm like, how do I not
Yeah.
know where we met? This is horrible. But yeah, we talked a lot about that, which is so great. So it's fun
Yeah.
to come in and get to share some
Yeah.
new stuff, and life has changed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Super cool. Well, it's just so amazing to see the evolution of Group Track from its initial inception in 2020 to where it is today. It's just really incredible. And I would say your persistence and your consistency is really incredible. I mean, that just goes to show everybody listening to this, like if you just using your words, it's like, I believe with everything in my soul, like that is what is going to move you forward and pull you forward and bring your dream or your product or your coaching offer alive. That's what's going to keep your community live as well. So I love that about you. I admire that so much in you. It's really inspiring for me to keep going too, Jenna.
but it's hard. I don't want to negate that. There are days I am in the full fetal position, believe me, especially
Oh yeah.
re-rolling out the tool and spending all that money and having all the challenges we did. Running a software company on an external system that we can't control is very hard. And I know a lot of times people see me and I'm always happy and I'm showing up, but behind the scenes, it's really, really hard. And I share that just because I want to make sure people don't think this is just easy and that, I don't have to work for it, because you do. And I think especially in this economy and in this environment, you have to show up consistent. And that's what people are really clinging on to right now. Someone that shows up and is transparent and is like, look, this is really hard, but I'm still here for you. And those things, that's what people want to see today. They want the real human. It's relationship marketing again, and it's back to where it should be. And I think that's a little bit of an adjustment, but I'm telling you, it's the people that nurture relationships who will win this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, let's end on that note. All right. Thank you so much, Jenna. And to our listeners, remember to design a business and life that is built to last. And we're going to move to our Q&A. So listeners, make sure you sign up next time to come to our live podcast recording so you can have some Q&A. All right. Until next time.